Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again, and today it's the last of the face commanders from Bloomborough, from the pre-con decks, and it's going to be Hazel of the Rootbloom. And I did think about doing a pure squirrel typal deck with a load of the things I missed out. And part of the deck is that, I'm going to be honest, and part of it is trying to abuse this, have tokens, pay a couple of life and get a whole load of mana and win that way. So, we have a bit of a mismatch today, but anyway, for those of you who haven't seen Hazel before, 2 black and green for a 3/5 Squirrel Druid. Tap, pay 2 life, tap X untap tokens we control to get that much mana in any combination of colours we can choose and pick. And then, beginning of our end step, create a token that's a copy of a token we control. If that token's a squirrel, we get another one instead. So yeah, great card, builds up a little squirrel army once we get some squirrel tokens into play. But the actual whole production of mana is really good, and that's really what I'm trying to concentrate on today. So here we go. Here's my take on Hazel for this deck. So the beginning, creatures. Root, Gold Vein Hydra, I really do like. When it dies, get those treasure tokens and just try and pump as much into X as you can, because you do get your mana back eventually. And you do get Vigilance, Trample and Haste creature to start off with, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, getting the tokens back is great. Bushy Bodyguard comes in from Bloomborough. We get to offspring it whenever a creature enters. You may forage. If you do, put a couple of +1/+1 counters on it. To forage, exile 3 cards from our graveyard or sack a food. Prosperous Innkeeper gives us our first other token, treasure token, and gains us a bit of life every time a creature enters. The Squirrel Sovereign coming in from Modern Horizons, 2 if I remember correctly, pumps all our squirrels up by +1/+1. Thornvault Forager is just more ramp for us, and then if we do need to forage, getting a couple of mana can help, or going and finding a squirrel when we get to that level. Valley Rot Caller attacks, each opponent loses X life. And we gain X, where X is the number of other squirrels we control, which we should have a few with this deck coming through. Fine Weak Mentor gives us a food token when it enters or dies. We have enough token generators that it's worth having Academy Manufacturer in here, because we do produce food, includes some treasures, so we might as well get one of each. Bloodroot Apothecary comes in, enters the battlefield, you and an opponent create a treasure token. That's really nice of us, but whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-creature token, they get a player. That player gets 2 poison counters. Probably make yourself a target if someone's got a lot of treasures in play and this comes in. Just beware of it. Bridge Tracker gives us an investigation and clue, and as long as we've got a token we get +2/+0, so we have a 4/3 Vigilance Human Scout who's looking for squirrels. Camilla the Seed Miser comes in from the main set instead of the commander set from Bloomborough. Gives all our other squirrels menace, and whenever we sack a food we get a 1/1 squirrel token, and we can forage for 2 and forage and put a +1/+1 counter on each other squirrel we control. So we do make our army bigger as things go on. Chatterfang the Squirrel General, if one or more tokens would be created under your control, that many tokens plus a squirrel token are created, then we can sack a squirrel or sacrifice X squirrels and give something +X +X and -X until the end of the turn, so a bit of targeted removal. Corpseberry Cultivator, just because why not? Whenever we forage we get put a +1/+1 counter on it, so yeah, and I quite like it in draft, it's been fun. Old Rustine makes an appearance at the beginning, when we enter the battlefield we can either upkeep mill a card. If a land is milled, get a treasure. If a creature is milled, get an insect. Anything else, we get a blood token. Sorry for the yawning. So yeah, not sure, but I kept it in because I need another 3-drop, and Old Rustine fitted at that stage. Tireless Provisioner does the whole landfall thing for food or treasures. Obviously, mainly with this deck, because we want to forage with a lot of the cards, we are going to go with the food tokens. But the treasure tokens can be helpful to ramp up if we need to. Tireless Tracker's also here to go and investigate for us each time we drop a land. Bristlebud Farmer comes into play with a couple of foods, they help. And we can sacrifice food to return a permanent card from our graveyard to our hand if we need to. So, if something cools off and we need it, that's one way to get it back. Liege of the Hollows is put into any graveyard from play. Each player may pay any amount of mana to put that number of squirrel tokens into hit play under his or her control, and treat those tokens as 1/1 green creatures. This goes all the way back to Weatherlight, and I think a lot of people may have forgotten about Liege of the Hollows, so luckily I was playing when Weatherlight was around, and I remembered there was a card in Weatherlight that did squivel things, and I went and found it, and yeah, it was Liege of the Hollows. Giving away my age again. That's not good. Anyway, Toski, Bearer of Secrets is here. Squirrel, attack. Creatures deal, when they deal damage to a player, draw cards. Cool. Deep Forest Hermit, Modern Horizons 3, I think, if I remember correctly. Or was it MH1? Can't remember. Anyway, Vanishing 3, enters the battlefield. We get 4 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens and pump our squirrels up. A bit like the Deranged Hermit, we just have to pay the Echo if we want to keep the +1/+1 going for a little while longer, but we get 4 squirrels from him as well, or her. Dray Keeper comes in, gives us 2 squirrel tokens. And then we can do pay 3 and a black to give all our squirrels +1/+0 and menace till the end of turn, so does pump the army up a little bit. Seedborn Muse, just so we can untap everything, you get a bit of bonus. The odd Acorn Gang comes in from the actual deck that Hazel's in the first place. I've decided to include it here. I don't try, when I'm playing these decks, I try not to include the backup command as well, but I figured in this one, if I'm going Squirrel Tribal to a certain extent, Squirrel Typal, to a certain extent, might as well include it as well. Massacre Worm just gives a way of getting rid of our opponent's small stuff. Nut Collector, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. As long as we have Threshold with 7 cards in our graveyard, all our squirrels get +2/+2. Okay then. Old Gnawbone likes eating squirrels, but gives us treasure for eating them, yeah. Creative Behemoth comes in purely because we're going to have a lot of mana. This is what these cards are all here for, by the way. The mana we should produce from Hazel should mean they come down early, which means we get a lot of benefit. Although, you want to make sure you've got a board built up before you cast this one. Kamal, Heart of Crows, just makes everything great every combat step as long as we keep him alive. +3/+3 and trample to the end turn, automatic overrun. And the Devastator. I just like the Devastator, so it appears quite regularly in my decks. Yeah, not going to say anything more. Spells. Chatter of the Squirrel gives us flashback, 1 mana for a squirrel, and then 2 to flash it back and get another squirrel. For the Common Good comes from Bloomberg. Create X tokens that are copies of a target token you control, and then tokens you control get indestructible until your next turn. And yeah, you gain 1 life for each token you control. Like this plan. Green Sun Zenith, Twilight, reveal the top X, get a creature card, put them in hand, put the rest on the bottom of your put those cards into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library, 5 or more on the battlefield, and the rest on the bottom of your library. Yeah, okay then. Land and a creature. That's good. Especially if we get lots of mana, we can create Hoof. Cash Grab, because it's been doing so well for everybody in Draftland. I think it's one of the top drafted green commons at the moment. Mill 4, put a permanent card from among the cards milled this way into your hand. If you control a squirrel or return a squirrel, create a food token. Okay, another food generation. Chatterstorm, cast a whole load of spells and get a whole army of squirrels because of the Storm effect. Farseek goes and fetches some lands. We didn't really go too heavy on the ramp, but we have got Nature's Law, Ramp and Growth, 3 visits. Yeah, there. Finale, Devastation. Yep, get the X up to 10, gives all those creatures +X, and haste until the end of turn. Yeah, we do want it to be 10 or more. Yes, we should be able to do it with Hazel. Yes, we will win the game when we cast this card, more than likely. Verdant Commander Taste gives us a couple of squirrels, and then you can pick whichever one of the other 3 abilities you need. Damnation gives us some board control. Rootcast Apprenticeship comes in from the Bloomborough Commander deck itself. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature. Create a token that's a copy of target token you control. Target player creates a 1/1 squirrel creature token, and target opponent sacrifices a non-token artifact. Yeah, we know where we're going with this one, don't we? Copy, create, copy. Well, copy probably with this deck. Blood Money is also here. Blow the board up, get a tap treasure token for each creature we control. Then if we can replay Hazel on the same turn, we're going to have a whole load of mana the following turn to go and play with and rebuild our board quickly. Artifact wise, not too much. Jeweled Lotus, Tantalite, Talisman, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet. I went with Golgari Signet, just had something for a change for a little while. Tamiyo's Talisman of Resistance, and then we have Tamiyo's Journal, so we get a clue token which helps with our tapping untapped tokens. transmutation font again. Blood, clue or food. Really nice with the Academy Rector in play, by the way, just so we're clear. Create a food token, you get a treasure and a clue for just for tapping an artifact. Seems very good to me. And Bootlegger Stash, just to make sure we can create more treasure tokens when we haven't got all our lands tapped. Squirrel Sanctuary comes into play. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, pay 1, return this to play. But Squirrel Sanctuary comes into play as an enchantment and gives us a squirrel. If we can bounce it a little bit, all well and good. Druid's Call, enchanted creature is dealt damage if its controller puts that many 1/1 squirrel creature tokens into play. I tested this and I snuck in a game with this, actually a real game, and yeah, this is quite good when it goes off, to be honest, because I put this on Crate Hoof Behemoth and people blocked the Crate Hoof to stop it, and I ended up with 14 squirrel tokens, I think. It was good for me, anyway. Season of Growth. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, it gets a scry. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card. Second part, not so important, but we can scry through our deck really quickly because it does pick up on tokens coming into play. Cloakwood Hermit is just the background that I put in for the deck. Beginning of end step, if a creature card is put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, you get a couple of tapped 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens. As long as our commander's in play, Bella's there. Fey Offering, yes we will be casting creatures, yes we will be casting non-creatures, so it gives us a clue of food and treasure. Growing Rights should flip quite regularly and quite happily with this deck and give us a whole load of mana bursts, which will probably help us win the game. Squirrel Nest, because we can just put it on a land and then, you know, if we don't need it for mana, make a squirrel token. And yeah, they both had to be here. Parallel Lives, Doubling Season, really just for double up our token generation more than anything else. Doubling Season will do counters, but there's not many kicking around in this deck, as you've seen. Lands, black and green all the way through, nothing particularly fancy. We do have a heavy amount of forests and a heavy amount of swamps, mainly because I was building this late at night and I really couldn't, I was too tired really, I'll be honest, to go through and find all my proper green-black lands. Please feel free to change these two numbers around as we want, but I did find most of them. The other thing I will point out is 3 tree cities here. Choose a colour, add an amount of mana of that colour equal to the number of creatures you control of the chosen type. Gives us a nice kind of Shrine to Nykthos effect for squirrels, and we can get all the mana we need that way if we need it for something else. But that is it. I've quite enjoyed doing this one. A lot easier to do than Bella was yesterday, but Hazel's here. I've now covered all of the face commanders for my takes on, so please go back through the channel. Thank you, I will say it once more, thank you to everybody who subscribed recently to the channel. I really do appreciate hitting over that magic 500 number. And if you haven't been here before and you've enjoyed this, please hit the subscribe button. The journey starts now for me to get to 1,000, but not worried about that. 500 is good for me at the moment. I'm back tomorrow. I've been requested when we hit the 500 mark on the stream last Thursday. Been asked to do a special deck for someone, so yep, that's fine. This is what we're doing tomorrow. So come back tomorrow, check out tomorrow's mono black deck. I don't think it's not one I've covered before, so it's something interesting. But for now, thanks for watching. Anything you think I've missed from Hazel, let me know down below, and I will catch up with you all soon. Take care. Bye.